Hello YouTube family. Today is 20 January 2023 and I have a lot of questions on the other video that I posted about these inverters and battery systems. So I wanted to do a quick update video. To start it off, the inverters are 48 volt 3000 watt inverters, 3 kilowatts. The batteries, I believe I had 28,000, maybe 38,000 watts. In my title I accidentally put kilowatt, so a lot of people hit me up on the comments. I don't do this professionally. I'm just a do-it-yourselfer off-gridder trying to learn everything on our own. If you've watched any of our other videos, you know, my wife and I, we're trying to go off-grid but do everything ourselves. We don't contract solar, contract digging, contract making the land, water, anything. My wife and I are doing 100% everything, so it's a lot of research, a lot of learning. I do feel like I've become a water purifying expert, and I think I'm pretty knowledgeable with solar now, but I'm open to any suggestions. I know a lot of people say put bus bars in. You know, I've tried to Google it and look at Amazon for bus bars. I just don't know how they would link these batteries set up. So if anybody can draw a diagram, maybe take a picture, give a link to somewhere that they show bus bars on lead acid batteries like this and how to hook it up better. This is all a trial run. We're currently living in a 20 by 30 military tent, air beam shelter, for anybody who knows what those are. And we're building our first Airbnb. We'll be moving into that and then live in that while we build the main house. So, you know, this is it's been a learning process, and I know a lot of other people that are writing, they're very interested in how the battery bank is doing. And so I wanted to update everybody and tell why. A lot of people write in and say, why don't you use lithiums? A lot of people, why don't you go with bigger inverters? And there's lots of questions that I guess if I'd like to explain and understand the situation. For one, we didn't know anything about solar when we sold our house in Ohio, moved down here to Kentucky. We just said, hey, we're getting away from the madness of the cities, and we're going to come down here and live a different lifestyle. So it originally started out with one inverter and 4 batteries just to keep the lights on. And then we got the fridge. And then we got the microwave. And then we started getting more and more stuff. And then we ended up with a hot water heater and a sink and pressure tanks and pumps. And we realized that it would take a little bit longer to build what we wanted, as we bought land that was undeveloped. This flat spot where this tent is was about the only flat spot on the land, and we ended up it took longer time than we thought to get up and running, I guess is the easiest way to say it. So this has been a slow journey for us, and we slowly been building out and building out. Some of the things I've learned on the journey was, a lot of people say you can't run air conditioning units and heaters on solar. I have not had that problem. I actually ended up hooking up a 3-phase box panel, and these 3 wires right here are going outside to a military 3-phase AC heater unit. And you know, it ran it. It was pushing. We ended up getting a 3rd inverter so we could run the 3-phase, and to be honest, it won't run the heating. It's just too much power. So we ended up putting the 3rd inverter, and it's now in parallel with this one. So what we have to do, it's very interesting. It was, like I said, a learning process along the way. I have a 3-phase 20 kilowatt diesel generator out there with 130,000 BTU heating and air conditioning unit. So at any time, if we need heat or cool, we can fire that up. But it's about a gallon an hour burn rate, so it's not very cost effective, let's say. But I ended up running the phase 1 of the 3-phase power from the generator outside into here, phase line 2 into here, line 3 into here. Everything was hunky-dory when everything was set up on 3-phase. You turn the generator on. All 3 of these are set to charge at 40 amps. So that would be 120 amps going into the batteries with the generator on. You could also set these go up to 80 amps. The max setting you can change for these are 40 amps per inverter for just utility power / generator. But it'll go up to 80 on solar and utility. So I did end up popping, I have a 200 amp marine grade breaker right there. It has popped one time on me, and more than likely I was trying to think back. It was a full sun day and we were trying to run the air conditioning unit, and our batteries were starting to get below, right at the 50% depth of discharge. So I fired up the big generator, and it was just too much amperage coming in, and it ended up popping that little breaker. So other than that one time, everything seems to be doing good. However, when I ended up putting this one in parallel with this, so now we have 3,000 watts on line 1 in the breaker panel, and then we have 6,000 watts going to line 2. And as you can see, I originally had this line to this line right here that's coming out of the third inverter going into the main block right there. And then in order to make it work in parallel, I just connected this third wire that was in 3-phase right to the second one, since they're in parallel now. However, I was having trouble when I fired up the 3-phase generator outside. These were giving me error codes and saying something was wrong. And just real quick troubleshooting, trying to make it work, I figured for some reason the third phase going into this, it's not computing properly and throwing the error code. And I was right. I ended up just wiring the third phase. I took it out of this one because it was in parallel with line 2. I ran it into the breaker panel where line 2 connects to this one, and then I just turned this off. So if I turn this off and disconnect the third inverter from the power source, it'll charge. I believe that if I take the line 2 coming in from the generator, which would be utility power, split it right here and run it over into this inverter, and they both had the same line for input, excuse me, then I could leave this hooked up right here. However, I would have to go back in there and undo that and put line 3 in this one again when I want to go back to 3-phase and run my air conditioning unit when it starts warming back up again. So I figured the easy, quick solution was just to run it in, turn it off, turn this off, disconnect it when I start the generator. But other than that, that's sort of a challenge that I'm dealing with. I don't think most people would want 3-phase power, nor do most people have 3-phase generators. So that's really just touching base on what I'm dealing with here with my project. Another thing I did, a lot of people are asking, how's it holding up, this, that, and the other. For the first 6 months down here, there was other more important things than getting electricity. You know, just figuring out how to live, get water, this, that, and the other. And so we ended up buying one of these 2,000 watt wind generators. I think they're like $400 or $450 now. And I'll tell you what, that thing was a godsend. It was a lifesaver for us. And we ended up running it right into one of the breakers, and it worked just fine. We would turn the inverter switch off, turn the inverter off. We'd already have that running. The inverter, it was sitting right outside our tent door. Have it fired up and running. We'd come over here, turn the inverter off, and then switch the breaker on, and had the 2,000 watt inverter power the panel. And that did our coffee maker, microwave, refrigerator. Obviously not all at the same time. You know, if you had all 3 of our lights blaring at full speed, let's say the fridge compressor actually was on at the time we wanted to use the microwave, you could hear it struggling, but it worked. Coffee maker, microwave, not at the same time, but it did the basics. Lights, refrigerator, make some coffee, warm up some food. And we ran that thing for 3 months straight, pretty much 3-4 months, as we were building up this system and learning, educating ourselves, and getting to where we are now. So I understand a lot of people are talking about lithium batteries and bigger inverters. This is our system that we come up with as we were building, as we were learning. And on top of that, I did want to make it easy to replace. You know, you have a big lithium battery powering your system, something goes wrong. Let's just say following what's happening in the world, it might not be as easy to get lithium batteries as it is a lead acid battery. Car batteries are, well, all over. And Also, they come with a 2-year warranty, these 114 amp hour batteries. They're $110. They come with a 2-year warranty. We've had 2 of them go bad. We took them in. They just replaced them, no questions asked. Walmart does seem to be good about that. And then just recently I did see for, I think it was $165, maybe $170. They have a AGM battery and it's 160 amp hours. And it has a 4-year warranty. Now, if I had it to do all over again, I definitely would go with that battery. All Walmarts have those batteries. They're typically in stock, 160 amp hours for like $165 with a 4-year warranty. So that's a pretty good deal, better than these 2-year warranty batteries that I got. So getting to the numbers, roughly we have 49,632 watts, 49 kilowatts. And for anybody that knows solar, you probably know this. For anybody that doesn't and is learning from this video, you have lead acid batteries. You should keep them above 50% depth of discharge, or else you'll shorten the battery life. So if you take 50% of the 49,000, you end up with 24,816 watts, or for easy, just say 24 kilowatts of power. And so far, things that will last way past the battery bank, at least I'm hoping so. These things are like $800. $800, $800, $800. Every battery is, let's just say $110. So, how many batteries do I have? 28, 29, 31, 32. We have 36 batteries. So roughly 36, let's say $3,800 in batteries. Another 800, 800, 800. For the inverters. Solar panels I ended up buying a few years prior, knowing I was going to get onto this project. I bought a whole pallet, 31 panels of 455 watt panels, I think for roughly $5,200, and had them shipped in. So overall, the system, our electricity bill, sometimes we had $450 a month electricity bills in our previous home in Ohio. That was typically summer, pool heater, complete 9 yards, but let's say on average $250 electric bill is what we had. And so what, 2 or 3 years, I think we'll recover that. That's $3,000 a month in electricity at $250 a month that we were paying. So $3,000 a year, to make simple math. So I think this system in itself, after 2 years, it's paid for itself. And any time plus that will be a plus. And then on top of that, you know, as we develop, learn more, educate ourselves, there's a few solar channels on YouTube that I've learned a ton from. I wish I knew his name. I could give him a shout out. You know, if I had to guess, he's 25 to 30 years old. Does great solar videos, battery reviews, everything. I've learned a lot from him. But so far, for the people that asked, the system seems to be running really nice. I do like these inverters. The more research I do, it seems like there might be a few companies over in China that make these and then they get branded. I like GrowWatt is a big name in America. Sigoneer Power, they're not so big here, but you can, Amazon, you start looking at them and most of them have this same software. So if you can, you know, screenshot that, a lot of them are the same builds. They're just a box, the screen might be in the middle instead of over there on the right. They're pretty much all the same, inside and out, build qualities. They just got a different label on them. And so if anybody has any questions or want to know where to get the solar panels for cheap, where to get these things, I'm currently talking to a company and I got a lot of friends and family members that are interested in getting something set up like this because they like the idea of battery backups for their home, where if the power goes out for a few days, they can still sit there and turn on their TV and make some coffee and have the lights on and not rely 100% on the system. You know, they definitely don't want to be disconnected from the grid, but they wouldn't mind a little security blanket. And these things are perfect for it. You know, it doesn't cost a lot of money to get this set up. You know, I wrote Tesla and had them quote me a system prior to coming down here, and another solar company. They were all like $60,000, $65,000. I think Tesla's was $65,000. You know, and that's just ridiculous. You know, you can live off grid and do it 100% on your own for, I would say, even doing it properly, not buying stuff at American prices, so to say, 10 grand, 15 grand, and do complete, lithiums, everything. There's definitely better, higher quality inverters out there. We're looking at a Soul Arc, the EMP proof inverter that I believe they're coming out with later this year, maybe already did come out with. So we're trying to stay on top of things. We're looking at different battery technologies, but for a no nonsense, quick and easy, you don't need a degree to figure it all out. This is all pretty relatively simple to do. You can order the wires online, the crimping tool, the heat shrink for the cables. It's we're doing the best with the knowledge that we have and the time we have to research it with all the other ongoing projects. So like I said, it's just my wife and I, so to do maintenance on a 50-ton excavator, maintenance on a 9-ton, and we have all the machinery, all of the maintenance that comes with it, all of the building and land developing, and everything is all on us. So for all of the experts out there that give in the comments, why don't you do this, why don't you do this, it is greatly appreciated, and I'm learning from it, and keep it up. I appreciate the comments, especially if anybody can post a link to a bus bar that works really good with lead acid car batteries. That would be great. But we're doing our best, and we understand we're making mistakes on the way. So any advice would be greatly appreciated, and hopefully this video helps others that are wanting to get a little bit of energy independence without spinning an arm and a leg. It is possible, and that's the update for today. That's the update for the batteries. The system has been working very well. We haven't really had any problems unless we're using a bunch of power tools outside and air compressors, and the sun's up. We typically have no problems whatsoever. And then if we're hitting the tools late in the evening and the sun's starting to drop, maybe even get some lights out to continue working a little bit into the dark, then yeah, we will typically fire up the big generator for about 30 minutes. That's 120 volts, or I'm sorry, 120 amps from the inverters, or from the generator being put into the inverters going into the batteries. 30 minutes will typically top them off. It's not a good saturation charge, but we wake up in the morning and we're not worried about anywhere close to being to the 50% depth of discharge. So that's the update. If you guys have any questions, that's the benefit about me being small channel. I don't have hundreds of thousands of viewers or followers. So if you have any questions really about anything off grid, we've lived it now. We just a little over a year, like zero support, no anything, just us. And we'll answer any questions that we can. We'll help you out. As far as I did all the research, I'm a very research oriented guy when it comes to like pressure tanks for well tanks or whatever. Like dive in just head first to try to figure out what are the best ones, what's the best reviews, what's the reliability on them. So a lot of the pressure tanks that we use for the water purification, and we want to make sure we want to not get the Tractor Supply pressure tanks, which I guess there's only a few companies that make all of them, and they get rebranded for the store brands and whatnot. We've done that research for you guys. So if you have any questions, what are you guys using for this, or what are you using for this? We'll do our best to answer any questions you have and help you out. Well, thank you for, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And if you have any questions, or if you want to help us, we're learning. We appreciate all advice. Anyway, you guys have a good day. Stay free.